Okay, so welcome to Module 9. So we've got the customer service and hostess coaching, and this is something that I've talked with nearly every consultant about on the course so far, is about hostess coaching. So we wanted to really delve a little bit deeper into it tonight, which hopefully you'll be able to get some really practical tips on how to talk to your hostess in the lead up to the party and when the key times to speak to them really are. Because at the end of the day, when you've got a party booked, you want to limit the possibility of that party being postponed or cancelled. And I always sort of say, look, there's no such thing as a cancellation. I like to think that that's true. Postponements is more what we're looking for if it's going to occur at all. So hostess coaching is one of the key things that you can do to prevent that from happening. And when done really well, it can be quite effective, but it is about practicing it and getting it down to a fine art. And hostess coaching, regardless of what kind of framework you have in place and what kind of checklist that you have in place, people do tend to personalize it to suit their style. And as we move through technology, you know, it becomes less about the phone calls and maybe more about texts or emails or whatever it is, but it really does come down to what you feel works best for you and your clients about how you contact people. So we're going to kick off with a bit of customer service first, bit of it intertwined with hostess coaching, so it's sort of all together. And I'll share with you some of the things that worked for me and some of the things that didn't work for me as well. So we'll get started. And I want to start with a bit of a reflection first of all. I want you to have a think about a business or a company. It could be a store in a shopping centre, or it could be a party plan company or a direct sales company. Or it could be perhaps a larger company like, you know, your Telstras or whatever, the really big companies. But I want you to have a think about a company or a business where you felt like a really valued client, and sort of what kind of things did they do or did they say or how did they make you feel to make you feel like you were a valued client. And this is always a really interesting activity to do because sometimes it's not easy to think of a company where we do feel valued. But if I asked you to think of a company where you didn't feel valued, I'd say you'd have 2 or 3 spring to mind straight away. And it'd be very easy for you to tell me what they didn't do that made you feel that way. So, you know, even if you want to have a think about this at a later time, it's a really good idea to think about how you can be running your business the same way that people run their business with you as a client, and can you mirror the things that those companies are doing? And in turn, if there's something that you've an experience that you've had with a business or a company where you haven't felt valued, you need to make sure that you're not doing those things with your clients. So we can learn a lot from our own situations with this, and it's the same with anything. You know, if you think about what you like, do that with your clients. If you think about what you don't like, don't do that with your clients. So have a little bit of a think about how you can mirror some of the behaviours or completely do the opposite of some of the behaviours of businesses that you've dealt with in the past. And it gives you a really good starting point and a really good basis for your customer service right off the bat. Because everything that I just put there at the bottom, everything that we do or don't do matters. And it's about how you make people feel. So it's really important that you do a little bit of a reflection on that and start to think about how you can mirror those things as well. So customer service is one of the things that can make or break your business. You can have the best products in the world, but if you don't have the service, it falls down. And what it really does when you've got good customer service skills, you're actually developing relationships. And that's the one thing that's been a constant throughout our course, is about consistency and developing relationships. And customer service is really about the relationships and how you make people feel when they're purchasing from you or they're booking with you or joining your team. And a happy customer will always be loyal to you, but an unhappy customer will gossip about you. And you have to think about a situation that you might have been in where you've had an unpleasant experience with a business or a customer service person. Perhaps it could be in a larger company or just a shop in your local shopping centre. How many people do you tell when you've had a really bad experience as opposed to how many people you tell when you've had just a fine, okay, great, feel really good experience? So the thing is that people actually gossip about you, not the actual company when they're unhappy. They think about how you've made them feel rather than what the actual situation is. So customer service can really make or break what you're trying to do in your business. It is absolutely vital and it's really, really important that you nail it. because it's what's going to either grow your business or it'll fall in a ditch. So have a think about that one. But the secret to great customer service is to make everyone feel like they're your number one client. So you're really wanting people to feel that they've been looked after, that they've been treated even more special than anyone else. They might have had issues or something might have happened that didn't go 100% according to plan. But if they feel like they're the number one client for you, you've really looked after them, that's what's going to make the difference for you. That's the secret. So when I say make everyone feel like they're your number one client, who's everyone? Everyone is actually all of these people here, and they are all found at each party that you go to. So you'll have a hostess at every party. She's your everyone. You will have customers, which are actually paying customers, people that buy things from you. They're everyone. Everyone that buys from you wants to feel like they're your number one client. Your new hostesses, so the people at your party who book with you, are everyone. Your potential recruits, so the people who may want to join your team or who end up joining your team, is everyone. And the one that's really forgotten are the party attendees. They're the people who don't host, they don't book, they don't join your team, and they don't buy anything. But they're still clients because you've had them captive in that audience for that period of time. And they're the forgotten people in the parties. They're the people that sit there and may have the opportunity or the potential to pop up at a later date to book or join your team or to purchase from you. And so it's really important not to discount those people. They're the sneaky little ones that just sort of sit there and go in, but it's really important not to forget about them at all. And I just put together this little chart. I showed you this flow chart probably at about module 2, perhaps, I'm thinking, back in the early stages of the course. And it was just the blue circle. But what I've actually done is put next to it those 5 everyones. I've actually put where you would meet those people so that you know who you're dealing with at every point of the process. So the 5 blue dots, they are that's the process of a party in terms of your entire booking. And you'll see the hostess coaching, you're purely dealing with the hostess at that point. But when you move to the party, that's when you get all 5. You get your hostess, you get your customers, you get the people that book in with you, the people who want to join your team, and the people who sit there and just come along for a good time but don't commit to anything. Once you finish the party, you're then only dealing with the hostess, the customers, and the new hostesses, because you're actually putting together the free shopping points and the orders and coordinating. You're putting people's orders through, and you're putting the new bookings through the system as well. Once you get to updating the databases and the post-party follow-up, you're still dealing with everyone again. And those party attendees, we will go into this in a bit more detail in a moment, but the party attendees are at this point the people that get forgotten, and they could potentially, with really good customer service, be the people who end up booking with you later, purchasing from you later, or joining your team later. So it's so important not to forget about those party attendees, because they're really little pieces of gold that we should nurture really well. So hostess coaching, I've just kept that little blue circular thing down the bottom so that you can sort of see where I'm going with this. But hostess coaching is the first part. Once you've booked a party, it's the first major part of the process, and it's something that you've got to start straight away on the day that that person books, and it does follow right through to the post-party follow-up as well. Hostess coaching is the biggest investment that you can make for your party, because it can determine, well, one, whether or not it goes ahead on the date that you've chosen, and it can also determine whether or not you have any sales before you walk in the door. It determines how rich your sales are on the night and how many bookings that you take as well. So when done properly, it's the biggest investment that you can make for your parties and your bookings. It's the backbone, and it's just really good customer service to have that contact all the way throughout. And of course, till I'm blue in the face, it develops relationships. So it's something that, when a hostess, you've spoken to a hostess many times in the lead up to her party, and you've got a relationship with that hostess, how much harder will it be for her to pull the pin on you the day of the party? So it's really important that that relationship's developed, because they will feel that they need to be loyal to you, and that's what's going to get them to keep that party booking date. I have to say, I'm still friends with many of my hostesses. Saw one today down the street, called her by her first name. 5 years later. So it's really nice to have those relationships. So I basically, you can see in my little thing, I've got a little, if I hold this up to the screen, you can see where I am. I've actually developed this years ago. It's a hostess coaching flow guide, and on the back is all the details of my party, what my sales were, and what bookings I had, and all my leads for consultants, etc. So I'll flick that out to the network when I find the electronic copy. Basically, the main points of contact for your hostess coaching are the time of your booking. So it's really important that at the time of the booking, you're talking to your hostess about their party already. And you want to make sure that they, and we'll talk about this again in a bit more detail, but they have to leave with something exciting in their hand. They have to have something about the party that they're going to take home with them. And what you want to do at that point is just really get them excited about the party. And I would suggest that you touch base with them every week up to the lead up of their party, and try not to book more than 4 to 5 weeks out from the current date, because otherwise it's too long-winded. But keep regular contact with them, and you need to contact them again 1 week prior to the party. And at that point, you really want to reignite the passion about why she's chosen to have a party with you, and get that excitement going again, and see how many people she's invited, and see what kind of help you can be to them. And you want to be able to explain the hostess rewards in a bit more detail. Make sure she understands what she's going to be able to get for doing this for you and for having that opportunity for herself. And you want to be able to confirm the party time, the date, and all of those particulars as well, so that you're not rushed on the day to try and finalise things at the last minute. And you also want to let them know that, you know, it is payment on the night. So that's something that people need a bit of notice for. So she needs to be talking to her guests about that. So there's a lot of information to deliver at about that point. But about 3 days before the party, it's really good to contact her and just go through the finer details. The 3 days before is usually when you're going to get those objections about, oh, I've invited all these people and it looks like I'm only going to have 2, or I don't know if it's going to be worth running. And all of those fears seem to sort of come in at about the 2 day before the party mark. And it's really important to be able to have that call at that point, so that you can help her with those objections to overcome them, and to give her some strategies and reassurance that you are going to be there, you've blocked that time out for her, and we'll just move forward as best we can, and to give her some ideas on how she can improve any of the areas that she's concerned about. The day of the party is not something I would call. I would probably usually send a text the day of the party to go, you know, hey, Sally, I'm so excited about your party. Can't wait to see you. I'll be there about 5 o'clock to set up, and keep it really light and just general. Never, ever, ever ask if everything's okay for this afternoon, because when you ask a question like that, you actually invite them to be able to say, well, actually, no, look, it's not. Or I'm going to have to cancel, or oh, I've got about 3 people just pulled out. I don't think we can go ahead. So it's really important at that point to keep everything really positive and upbeat, because you want them to be just as excited as you, and to keep that momentum going. Now, at this point, that's usually where people, I find, stop their hostess coaching. They stop at that, and they that's sort of the end of it for them. But it is so important that you contact them the day after the party. And this can be done in so many ways. It's generally just a token to thank them for hosting a party, and to remind them of how, like, the sales that they got, or the free gifts that they got. And I would sometimes have a pre-handwritten postcard. I did some postcards up through Vistaprint, and I would just pop it in their mailbox on the way out. And it would just be like, you know, thanks so much for inviting me into your home. Had a really great time. And, you know, really excited to deliver all the goods to you, or for you to receive all of your free goodies for having a party. Thanks so much. And I would pop that in the mailbox, because she'd get that the next day or the day after. So it is important that you show some appreciation and recognition that she's done that for you. And I suppose it's just a very personalised touch. And again, that's really good customer service to make them feel it's very special. And the next one is 3 weeks.
No, I'm sorry, Tash, I was just going to jump in there. I was going to say, never underestimate the power of a physical letter to someone. So what Tash talked about in terms of those pre-made cards, which are really cheap to do, you can imagine the excitement and the connection that they feel when they go to their letterbox the next morning and there is this personalised note from you.
Mm.
It takes so little time to do. She'll probably keep it, so you make sure your details are on there. You can get them pre-printed, and all you have to do is put their name on it. And that there's actually really powerful. We get so little post, and we get so little nice post these days that is just such a powerful thing. So and it's a very cheap way to connect. So that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah, it really is. It's very little effort, but maximum results. That's really good. I've just been put off a little bit because my little slider on the side where all your faces are gone. So now I just don't feel like I'm talking to anyone, but I'll just push on. Yeah, so don't underestimate that. The other thing though is, and I've got a few more slides about the after bit, but 3 weeks after the party, it's really, really important to phone every single person from that party to touch base with them. And the hostess is the most important. You want to make sure that 3 weeks after you've closed that party that they have received their items, because basically I found with my parties is that if something was delayed by a few days or something went on back order or for whatever reason, so long as they felt like someone was looking after them and someone was doing that liaising on their behalf, they were so happy. They felt like royalty because they were being looked after. They didn't have to have a care in the world about it. Therefore, it eliminated any issues or objections that I used to get from people. So it took me a little while to get into the habit of doing that. And once I did, I found that the whole situation with, if there was something on back order or if something didn't arrive or for whatever reason something didn't go to plan, which, on occasions it does, I didn't have any issues because they felt like they were being looked after, and they were, and I could liaise to head office and then back to them for them, and it was all done. It was very easy. So the 3 weeks after the party is really vital because it's the full circle. It closes that circle from the booking in through to having the party through to actually receiving their items. So it's really, really important that you know what's going on as a consultant and that you're looking after your people. Now, I said before that the hostess must leave the party with something in her hand. I think it's a really great idea to get little gift bags and put beautiful fluffy tissue paper in them and put things in it like catalogues and order forms and a chocolate, like a little gift or something like that. And I've just put a list here of some of the things that you might like to put in a hostess pack, and you can have them on your display table. So you can actually have them on the side. You might have 3 or 4. And you want to be able to, when someone books a party, instantly give them that pack for them to take home because it's exciting. When you get home, if you've booked a party before through another company, you get home and you pull it out and you go through it. It's exciting. You want to start inviting people straight away. Whereas if you book a party and you leave and you haven't got anything with you, it's not really a priority. It's not exciting. You sort of don't get straight onto it, and you do tend to leave it till the last minute. So handing them something exciting or colourful or bright or whatever it is that they can take home is really, really important because it will help set the tone for the rest of the booking procedure. So I popped there that you can put 2 or 3 catalogues in depending on how many you have. Make sure there's plenty of order forms in there because you want to encourage her to go and get the pre-orders for you. And I would actually incentivise, I would give them I would personally, out of my own money, give them a $5 discount for every order that they got for me. So if they got 5 orders before the party, I would personally discount $25 off of their own personal order for them. That was something I chose to do. That's not a company thing. You might be able to come up with something of your own. You want to put invitations in there, and there are some on Pash Central. If you could print in bulk, really, really affordable way to go about it, or to design your own in Vistaprint and have them printed as postcards. You can put 10 in each hostess pack to go out. So the hostess actually has invitations that she can handwrite onto. You want to have a hostess wish list so she can actually go through and go, you know what, here are the things I'd love for free. And that makes it really easy for you to go, well, you know what, if you really want that, you're going to need $600 in sales or whatever it's going to be. It makes it really easy. You want to have a colour copy of that month's specials. So if a client has booked in for the end of this month, I would make sure that her hostess pack had the September rewards in it so that she knew what she was going to be able to get for free. You want to have some incentives. You might find some tic-tac-toe games or something else that you're going to put in there to incentivize her to get you some party bookings or some sales before you get there. And you want to also have some information about the opportunity because, as we know, hostesses make fabulous team members. They're the people that love the product so much that they're willing to open their home to you to come in and do this for them and their friends. So it's really important that you're talking to your hostesses about the opportunity every single time. And you might also pop in a small gift. It doesn't have to be expensive. When we think about gifts, I've spoken to a few consultants about how much money they're spending on gifts for prizes and things like that. It doesn't have to be. So, you know, just a little thing of chocolate would be lovely, like a little Snickers bar or a Ferrero Rocher 3-pack or something like that. Grab them while they're on sale. So make sure that they're leaving with something exciting, something that will make them want to go ahead and get started to plan straight away. It's really important. Now we moved on, you can see on the little blue bubble, we've gone from hostess coaching through to the actual party. And this is where developing the relationships is so important. You want to make sure that you speak to absolutely everyone. And I found the best time to speak to people was in that sort of 10 to 15 minutes-ish, maybe longer, while you're waiting for people to arrive, and you're sort of just sitting there anyway. So you get to ask people questions about what they do and how they know the hostess, and start to sort of nut down people's situations. This is where I would look for people's hot buttons for the opportunity. So I might be talking to someone and they're whinging about how they haven't had a night away from their kids in 3 months, and this was just the biggest treat. That's a big hot button for me. So I would make sure that I'm speaking to them about the opportunity, or I earmark them to go back to and talk about the opportunity later. So we're identifying our hostesses and our recruits in that time. Now, throughout the party, you might not be able to do it with everyone, but you might just remember 3 or 4 people's names. Really important to use their names throughout the party because it makes them feel really valued right from the start. And you want to be able to seek to get everyone's contact information, and this can be quite tricky. People are often very reluctant, unless they're buying, to give you their name and their phone number or their email. So getting creative with how you want to do that, there are lots of different ways, I'm sure, but trying to get everyone's contact details so that you can call absolutely everyone, including those little sneaky party attendees, which are the ones that sit there and don't buy or book or recruit. So really important to try and get everyone's information for your database. And the other thing, I had a little game that we used to play to be able to give everyone a business card with my details on it. I would hand everyone a business card at the beginning as a game. And on one of the business cards, I had LL written in the corner with a circle around it, and it would just be on one, and I'd get them all to put it in their bag. And later in the party, I would get them to get that business card back out, and whoever had the LL on it would win a prize. It was called Lady Luck. But what it meant was that everyone had my business card in their bag going home with them. So that was really an important way for me to sort of go the other way. I was getting their information, but they were also getting mine as well. So we're moving on to the next little bubble, processing orders. Oh, this is something that you can either do really quickly, or you can dilly-dally and wait for people to pay you and wait for people to have money come into their account from, you know, their wages or whatever. But I think the earlier that you can close that party, the better for everyone that's already ordered and given you their money. Once people have given you their money, they want their stuff ordered and they want it on the way. So it is important that you set a really specific standard about how long you're going to wait after a party's been held to put those orders through. And I would say 24 to 48 hours is the absolute limit, because I know that personally, if I've given somebody $150 of my money, I want my goods on the way. I don't want to have to wait. And I shouldn't have to wait if I've given that amount of money over. And you also want to contact your party attendees. This is where those little sneaky people are in. Just before you close that order, if you've managed to get contact details for those party attendees, give them a call, let them know, you know, hi Mary, great to see you at the party. I noticed that you didn't order anything, but I am processing that order tonight if there was anything that you were thinking of getting. Some people just want that extra time to think about what they'd like to buy. And especially with those higher end love toys, it is a big investment for people. It's a lot of money for some people. So they might want to have a think about it. And had you not gone back and checked, you might have missed that opportunity. You also, once you've closed that party, it's a really great idea to send a text or an email, just something very casual, to let everyone who placed an order know that that order has gone in now and that their items have been ordered through the system. That's just really good customer service in terms of checking in with people and letting them know where their process is up to, so that they feel like they haven't been forgotten, that their money has been taken and submitted and it's being used. And it's just really good to let people know. I know that it's a bit of reassurance for me when I've been at party plans as well. And also letting them know what they will expect in the next few weeks. And then what you do is you start your hostess coaching straight away again for your new hostesses from that party. Next little bubble along, once you've closed your party, we really need to be updating our database. And MailChimp's something that I know has been talked about within the Passion Network for a little while. I think it's absolutely fabulous. If you haven't heard of it, it's mailchimp.com. And it basically is a program online for storing all email addresses. You can send newsletters, really professional looking newsletters that link to your social media, and you can put images and text and anything that you want on it. And it's really important that every email address that you get goes into there. And what you can do then is communicate with those customers regularly and consistently to let them know about what you're doing in your business, what your goals are, what your dreams are, what you're aspiring to achieve, but also what specials there are and what opportunities that you have for the month. And you might have a product of the month that you're going to discount or do a deal on. So it's really important to be able to contact those people afterwards and at regular intervals afterwards. So that's something that, again, updating databases is something when we get really busy we tend to let fall off, but it is really, really vital. If you want to grow a business and a serious business, you need to have a database. And this is the one that not a lot of people do, but everyone on this call will start doing, I'm sure, is the post-party follow-up. And it's one of the most important parts of the process because it continues that relationship with the person. Basically what you're wanting to do is 3 weeks after the party, you want to ring and check that that order has arrived, and you start with your hostess to say, has the parcel arrived, yes or no? Have you been able to hand out many of the bags to your friends that have bought? And what you can do from there is then contact every single customer that's purchased from that party to check that they have everything that they ordered. Sometimes, you know, as we know, things might go on back order. Things might accidentally get missed, or they might think they've ordered something when they haven't, or something might happen like that where you need to make sure that you've had that communication with them and that they have everything that they need in their hands, or at least feel like they're being looked after so that they can get those things as soon as possible. And of course, at that point, it's never too late to offer for them to book a party or to offer them the business opportunity and meet with them about becoming part of your team. So it's another opportunity that you get. Oh, that's it. Okay, so I've just put a little coursework there, which is to design a party framework checklist and share it with us in the Facebook group. And all I mean, that sounds a bit complicated, but what I really mean by that is, can you get a checklist together of hostess coaching opportunities? So what you would do on the night that you book the party, what you want to do a week before the party, what you want to do and talk about with your hostess 3 days before the party. So I want to see what kind of things that you can think of that you can do for your customers and your hostesses that you can do as a bit of a checklist so that you could say, yep, I'm on track with this person. I've done all of the things that I'm supposed to do. So have a little think about it. It's the kind of thing that this isn't just a task that I'm asking you to do just because. It is something that you can do and publish and actually use every single time that you have a party, and it will keep you on track and it will make sure that you're hitting all of those major opportunities that you have. So that's the end of the slide. So Jo, if you wanted to, if there's any comments.
No, I think that's great. I think that you know, if you followed that for every one of your parties, it really would make a difference to the outcome. And I think sometimes it can seem like there's a lot of work, which is why I actually think that's a really good exercise for everyone to do, is to create your own little checklist. And what you find is if you actually get yourself into a process, it makes a huge difference. So a lot of this stuff that we do in direct selling or direct social selling, it's about getting a process in place, and you'll find that it actually takes very little time to get really good results. You just go, right, I do this. You can schedule things. So the wonderful thing with things like MailChimp is you can actually do automated stuff. And I think MailChimp is free if you're under a certain amount of people anyway. So it costs you nothing. You can set up a couple of templates. It doesn't even have to be fancy, but it's getting into a process of doing it. The idea is that you minimize your time to get the greatest effect, and processes are the way to do that. There's no secret as to why the McDonald's and the Hungry Jacks and those type of franchise companies do so well, because they have a very set process of how they run their businesses. So it's just applying a little bit of that to make your life easier to get better results. So any questions? Anyone have any comments or anything they want to throw into the mix? If not, I am just going to stay on the line for a few minutes to talk to Emma about hens parties. And anyone else, if that's no more questions, then
I've just got a comment about something Tash said a little while back about making sure you explain, because I've just had a party, not this weekend, on the weekend before, about explaining to your parties the ordering process and how it needs to be finalised within the 48 hours, so you don't have people stuffing you around all week saying, oh, but I'm waiting till Wednesday or Friday for my pay to come in and things like that. Because I had a party where I tried to hold out for two girls who kept sort of stuffing me around, and then I just had to finalise the party because I couldn't wait for them anymore. And then I got a text message after I finalised the party saying, oh, I've just put that money in now. And I'm just like, well, now you have to pay the $14 postage because you've missed the boat. So
yeah, so I think, and it's a good example, Beck, because of course it happens, and it happens to all of us. So all you can do is follow a process in that, which is one, and I'm sure you did all the right things anyway, but it's to, you try and finalise on the night, but you will find there are times where, and you don't want to lose the orders. It could be $200, $300, $400, and they say, look, I can't pay until, this date, and I'll put the money in your account. The reality is most people have credit debit cards these days linked to their account. So I would always encourage, get the details and say, look, because this is what we do sometimes when people are looking to join Tash, they go, but I can't, I won't be able to pay until I get paid on, next Thursday. And I say, well, that's fine. We'll collect all your information. We just won't process the payment until that day. And if there's any problems, let us know. So you can follow that same thing. You just say on the night, collect all the details, try and get as much as possible payment details so you can process it on that day and you're not then waiting to put money into your account. But let everyone know, look, ladies, I've got, Jenny and Karen here who are going to be paying on Wednesday. Just so you know, I won't be able to submit the party until everyone's put their orders in, but I will be closing on that date. And all you can do is text message them, 48 hours before and then 24 hours before to say, hey, just a reminder, I've got to close the party on Wednesday. And then if they don't get you the money in time, absolutely, you do need to close that party. Always check with us if they do, but allow them still to put the order in, so they can always put the order in afterwards, and we can always, sort out any additional hostess rewards point that might be added. But always check with us just in case it's not left from the warehouse, in which case we can sort of help you make the process a bit simpler. But you did all the right things there.
Thanks, Jo. I tried, but it didn't work.
And it happens. Yeah, and that happens. So as long as you communicate and you let everyone know, then that's pretty much all you can do. But the good thing is they can still put the orders in.
Jo, can I ask a quick question, please? Sorry.
Yes.
The PayPal Here app.
Yes.
When you're taking payments, they actually have a charge per transaction. So how do you go about recouping that through the orders? Because obviously that's 3% or 2% per order. Is there a way to overcome that?
Yes, there is. So if you get yourself a little PayPal, in the same way that shops say I charge a 1% or a 2% or whatever additional amount, you can do the same thing, because that PayPal money goes into your account. So you just charge them the additional on at the time, and then because you're then putting the payment through on your card. So you recoup the money straight away. So again, the main thing is just to be honest, and a lot of shops do it. I mean, for God's sake, the airlines do it, and they're the ones that need the least amount of money, right? So I just think if anyone says anything to you, say, look, I'm really sorry, but speak to the banks. They're the ones who are, ripping us all off with their multi-billion-dollar. This is my business. It's a small business. They're charging me a 2% fee. So, I just obviously need to, that gets passed on, like Qantas does. And I find the best way to do it is you have a little sign that you put onto the PayPal, little ching thing, which says 1% charge or whatever it is. And that way it's just sort of out in the open.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, I tried that with when I had my EFTPOS machine as well, I did the same. And then I would get to a point where if they spent over a certain amount of money, it might have been, I can't remember now, but maybe $120 or something, I didn't charge them anything because I thought, well, that's a lot of money. So.
Yeah, exactly. And you could do the same. It's a way of encouraging, people will, if they think they're getting a better deal, they might order something more. So that's a good thing to do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So Emma, are you still on, my darling?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll give you a quick overview. I'm just going to talk to